I'm back again. Hello. I want to talk about K-dramas today, specifically 2021 K-dramas, my favorites of the year, not including Squid Game because everyone knows Squid Game, everyone around the world knows. So these are my top favorites from this year that do not include Squid Game. I'm going to talk about the premises of the shows, and sometimes they're going to sound a little out there, but bear with me. These are good. I've been watching K-dramas for a long 2 years, so I know what I'm talking about. I'm totally kidding. Let's start from, I'd say, oh, wait, why did I write this twice? Okay, from the top of the year, Vincenzo. I feel like anyone who has taste liked Vincenzo. And it was, I think, Netflix's, before Squid Game, Netflix's highest rated K-drama. Okay, the premise of the show. It's gonna sound so silly, me saying it out loud, but I'm telling you the show's really good. The main character, played by Song Joong-ki, is an Italian-born Korean who is the advisor for a mafia family, right? Right, okay. He's adopted, lived in Italy most of his life. He's the consultant for a mafia family. Mafia boss dies. His adopted brother becomes the, mob leader. And his brother does not like him. There's tension and tries to kill him. So he flees to Korea. For some reason, side note, for some reason he can navigate Korean society really well for someone who hasn't lived there for most of his life. But anyways, he goes back to Korea, which he does have connections in Korea, where he owns a building underneath someone else's name, and underneath the building there is a bunch of gold. And that gold previously was owned by a Chinese tycoon, but he mysteriously passes away. So now he and the guy that the building's name is under want to get the gold for themselves, obviously, because they're the only people who knew about the gold. But unfortunately, the building has a bunch of businesses, and those people don't want to leave, obviously, because that's where their businesses and some of their homes are. And that's like the beginning premise of the show. Then there's another premise where one of the people in the building, who's a lawyer, is fighting against a very big corporation that's very corrupted. Surprise, surprise. And the main character, the mafia guy, gets entangled with them. A lot goes on in the first 4 episodes, but I always say in the first 4 episodes of a K-drama, you gotta give it a chance. You gotta give 4 episodes. And usually K-dramas have 16, from like 10 to 20 episodes, but 16 is like the normal amount. You gotta give it 4 episodes. And I'd say the first 4 episodes of Vincenzo are probably the best 4 episodes I've ever watched of a TV show. Really gets you hooked, really good. Its genre is like action and just a lot of action, I'd say. But the action is really interesting. The fighting style is really interesting, and there's tiny, just like the smallest bit, tiniest bit of romance. I know not everybody likes romance, and I know a lot of people like a lot more romance, but I think the amount of romance in the show is perfect. It's perfect for the show. Honestly, really amazing female director. She's incredible. Highly recommend. Okay, the next drama I recommend is Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. I don't want any hate towards Kim Sun-ho, my fave. He is my fave, will always be my fave. But the premise is completely different than Vincenzo. But Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha follows the main girl who is a dentist who is really smart, pretty, kind of very traditional in her thinking. She decides to quit her job because of corruption that's going on, and she decides to move to a seaside village and start her own dentistry. And she meets a guy who lives a very different life from her. He only works part-time jobs, which apparently in Korea that means he's unemployed, but like in America, even if you have a part-time job, you're still employed. Anyways, he's unemployed and he kind of lives life on his own terms, really laid back. But the story kind of follows them and their friendship to, well, enemies to friendship to lovers. And it's really good, really lighthearted in the beginning. Of course, there's trauma, there's backstories, there's secrets within the town. I'd say like the best parts about the show is how involved the townspeople are in the main characters' lives and how nosy they are, but don't mean any harm. It's really fun, really sweet. All of the actors are really great. I love watching K-dramas because the acting pool, of course, in Korea it's large, but it's not, of course, as large as America. And you see actors from different shows that you've watched before. Like one of the guys in Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha is also in Vincenzo, the previous drama I just mentioned. And that's just so fun. And seeing how different his characters are, very fun. Love that show. Highly recommend if you're into, you know, a light drama that's not, it doesn't take a lot of thinking. You don't have to think a lot. Like with Vincenzo, you have to think a lot, but this one you don't. Okay, and the next one I'm mentioning is Doom at Your Service. I feel like this one had a lot of mixed reviews, but I personally really loved it. It did take me 2 watches to really get like the, I don't know, the importance I felt for the drama. So this drama is kind of in the fantasy realm. Fantasy, romance, I'd say like slow burn, where the main character, who is played by Park Bo-young, she has had a hard life growing up where both of her parents died. She's kind of raising her little brother. Their aunt is taking care of them. She finds out that she has terminal cancer and she has very little time left. And that's where the show starts. She finds out her boyfriend is actually married. She just, a lot of things are happening. Her job's like, meh. A lot of sad things happening in the beginning. And she gets drunk and she kind of curses the world and kind of wishes doom and destruction on everything. Here comes literal doom and destruction in human form coming to her because he heard her cries and was like, hey, I'm here to help you. So it's basically her falling in love with Doom and Doom falling in love with her. Does that make sense? No. But are the actors really beautiful and is the story really well written? Yes. We don't need to question anything. This is a K-drama, not a documentary. You know what I mean? So, and I think the show, like a lot of people don't like it because they think it's slow and there's a lot of like panning and not a lot of talking in some scenes, but I think the beauty of it is it's almost like poetry because like we hear a lot of the characters' thoughts because they're speaking, there's a lot of voiceovers and things. And I know a lot of people don't really like that, but there's a lot of, what's the word? Full circle moments in this show, and that's really, really satisfying to me. So if you'd like a slow burn, I definitely say this is the show for you. Both of the main actors are incredible. The side characters are really incredible. There's a side love triangle, which I found very interesting. I know a lot of people don't like love triangles, myself included. but I thought the fact that the side characters had a love triangle was really interesting. So if you are interested in that, I highly recommend that. Those are my top 3 K-dramas of this year. I do have 2 honorable mentions that I'd like to bring up. First one is My Name. Incredible. It only has 8 episodes. It's on Netflix. It's incredible. And it is about a girl who, unfortunately, her dad is murdered. And she kind of like seeks revenge on who murdered her dad. But there's a lot of twists, there's a lot of turns, there's a lot of questions, and there is basically a big plot twist in the end that is so satisfying and so good that I'm like, Han So-hee, she is that girl. She is that girl. She's an incredible actress. She was also Nevertheless. That's another 2021 drama that I thought was really good. A lot of people hated it because of the ending, but I don't care. I love conflict and drama, and that's what Nevertheless gave me. But Han So-hee, incredible actress. All of her work is so different, but she brings it every single time. She's definitely not a typecast actress, and I love that. But yeah, My Name, definitely recommend. It's action-packed, so if you like Squid Game or Vincenzo, definitely check that one out. And then we've got my last one, my honorable mention, My Roommate is a Gumio. Love that. The premise of the show, if you've watched K-dramas, is not really new. There's a girl who's in college and she has to live with this man who is a Gumio because she has swallowed his bead. If you don't know K-dramas, a Gumio is, I guess, a folklore character, a Korean folklore character, which is a fox with 9 tails. And I guess in the folklore, the fox needs to gain all 9 tails to become a human, at least in the premise of this show. So that's what this fox is trying to do. And with the bead collects energy from humans. And once the bead turns blue, fully blue, the Gumio can become a human. And there's like a time limit. So this Gumio is 999 years old and it can only live to 1,000 years. And if it doesn't become a human in that time, it dies. So obviously there's a conflict. So they have to live together to figure out how to get the bead out of her and then for him to become a human. So it is fantasy, obviously. And it's a romance, and it's really cute, and it's really lighthearted and really nice. The main girl is, I'm gonna say her name wrong, Harry, who is from Reply 1988, if anyone watches K-dramas, which is one of the best K-dramas I've ever watched, but not mentioned here because that was from 2016, I think. But she's the lead actress. She's so funny. She is such a good comedian. I feel like that's a very underrated skill. She's a funny actress, and I feel like that could be really hard to find in Korean dramas sometimes. So definitely love her. And the main guy, I always forget his name. Ki-young? Jang Ki-young, I think. That's how you say his name. Probably wrong. He is beautiful. He's a beautiful man. He's a great actor. And he plays the role of a young-looking 999-year-old person very well. It's so good. Loved it so much. I love all of these K-dramas so much. I've watched this year over like 25 K-dramas. I think those are my top 5 for this year that were in 2021. Yeah, if anyone has any of their favorite 2021 dramas, leave them down below. I'm currently watching a few 2021 dramas, and there's still a few more that are starting at the end of this month that I want to start, and maybe they'll be included in my favorites, even though they're not mentioned here. But that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later, maybe. Bye.